The wall in the middle of the book. There's a wall in the middle of the book. And it's a good thing. The wall protects this side of the book from the other side of the book. This side of the book is safe. The other side is not. But the most dangerous thing on the other side of the book is the ogre. If the ogre ever caught me, he'd eat me up. That's why I'm glad there's a wall in the middle of the book and that I'm on this side of it. Wait a second, what's going on? This isn't supposed to happen on this side of the wall. The ogre plucked him. Wow, thank you so much. Oh no, I'm on the other side of the book. And you're the ogre who's gonna eat me up. I'm actually a nice ogre, and this side of the book is fantastic.
Is the ogre eating bad guys?
I don't know who he eats. Some ogres eat onions because they have layers. Come on, I'll show you around. Hey ogre, wait for me.
No.
It's a little folded.
But that wasn't me.
Wait for me. So that side of the book wasn't so bad, was it? He thought it was bad, but sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. He thought his side of the book was safe, but it actually turned out to not be. A camping spree with Mr. Mcgee. Early one morning at 7:03, Mr. Mcgee and his little dog,
I don't want to do.
okay, D, packed up the camper, hitched up the load, hopped in the Rambler, and hit the road. They drove to the mountains far from the sea for 2 nights of camping, or possibly 3.
Possibly be.
There's nothing like camping, said Mr. Mcgee. I know you will love it. Just wait and see. The views are fantastic. There's hardly a sound. Aside from the wildlife, there's no one around. And the air is so sweet, you'll sleep like a log, said Mr. Mcgee to his small spotted dog. A few hours later, they took a sharp right and found a great spot to lay camp for the night. It was high on a hill with a beautiful view of Mount Adams, Mount Lincoln, and Jefferson, too. But perhaps the most wonderful feature of all was the brook that ran over the steep waterfall. Dee gathered pine cones and branches and logs. Mcgee made a campfire and cooked some hot dogs. And the sun set behind far distant knolls. They sat roasting marshmallows over the coals. As the embers went out, they felt tired and dozy, so they climbed in their bunk beds, all comfy and cozy. But while they were falling asleep without care, along came a stumbling, bumbling bear. A kindly old bear whose sight wasn't so clear. He couldn't see far and he couldn't see near. But he could smell marshmallows, sticky and sweet. This smell made him hungry. He wanted a treat. He sniffed out the place where the marshmallows lay, but the car and the camper were in the bear's way. Yet that didn't stop the sneaky old snitch. He simply tried squeezing right under the hitch. And as he was shimmying into the gap, he pushed up the hitch, which let go with a snap. Now that the camper and car were untied, they started to roll down the rocky hillside. The car bounced away on the old logging road while the camper was heading to where the stream flowed. It flew down the hill in a wild, bumpy ride, with Dee and Mcgee sleeping soundly inside. They were snoring and snoozing, enjoying a dream, when splash went the camper right into the stream. The splash shook the camper, and they bumped out of bed. Now what in the world was that, Mcgee said. And when he looked out and saw where they were, his hair stood on end. So did Dee's fur. They were caught in the rapids, but that wasn't all. They were headed smack dab for the big waterfall. Dee and Mcgee both started to quiver as faster and faster they headed down river. But just when they thought they'd fall over the edge, their camper got stuck on a rock at the ledge. So there they were, stranded, Mcgee and his pup, on top of the waterfall, 50 feet up.
How long is 50?
50 is pretty long. It's one more than 49.
You mean this much?
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49.
49.
50 feet up.
50. 50.
Meanwhile, that nearsighted bear from before was searching for one little marshmallow more. When lo and behold, as if out of a dream, he spied something sweet floating over the stream. But what the bear thought was a marshmallow treat was really the hitch and not something to eat. The bear was determined to capture his prize, so he jumped in the waterfall right up to his thighs.
No, I wanted to do that.
He splashed through the stream to the edge of the fall and snatched up the trailer hitch camper and...
Oh.
Dee felt a tug. Mcgee heard a knock as the bear pulled the camper right off of the
Rock.
He dragged them both all the way back to the bank when he realized the hitch was not sweet, but quite...
Rank.
He
Dad?
Yep.
Charlotte's rank.
He spit out the hitch and left in dismay, while Mcgee and Dee's camper again rolled away. It flew down the path with a jolt and a jar and stopped in some bushes right next to the car. How fortuitous. Dee popped her head out. Mcgee looked out too. Had they really stopped rolling, and could it be true? At last, things were quiet and peaceful and still. They hooked up the hitch and drove off down the hill. And on the way home, Mcgee said to Dee, "That trip wasn't quite what I thought it would be." So when they got home with the sky turning red, they decided to camp in the backyard instead.
Owen and Chrysanthemum.
Okay.
How many can we read?
2.
So, this girl and what other girl?
Okay.
We need to do Chrysanthemum first.
Okay. This is a chapter book. Okay.
Chrysanthemum.
The day she was born was the happiest day of her parents' lives. "She's perfect," said her mother. "Absolutely," said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. Her name must be everything she is. Chrysanthemum grew. She grew and she grew and she grew. And when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name.
She's turning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up, the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. She loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written in icing on a birthday cake. She loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with a fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And then she started school.
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 letters.
It's so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on your name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. You're named after a flower. Chrysanthemum wilted. The rest of the day wasn't much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Miss Chudd that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. Oh, pish, her mother said. Your name is beautiful. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese, and an evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was
Jane.
It was an extremely...
1, 2, 3, 4 letters and J.
That's right. Next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her
Jane,
most
Jane,
comfortable jumper and slowly walked to school. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria, as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joel. Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. The rest of the day wasn't much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, a chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in the garden with worms and other dirty things.
Oh,
Welcome.
like squirmy worms.
That's right. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. They said I looked like a flower. She felt trifle better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening of hugs and kisses and parcheesi. Next day, Chrysanthemum wore her favorite outfit, 7 pockets. She loaded them with her most prized possessions.
And your good luck charms.
Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school.
Can I do the rhymes?
There's no rhymes in this book.
Oh.
Chrysanthemum, 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 the flowers seemed to say.
I want to say chrysanthemum.
That morning, the students were introduced to Miss Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. Miss Twinkle led the students in scales. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, so, do.
Ow. Ow. Ow, ow.
The kids were chuckling. What's so humorous? Asked Mrs. Twinkle. Chrysanthemum was the answer. Her name is so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on her name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. She's named after a flower. Well, my name is long too, said Mrs. Twinkle. It is? Asked Joe. It would scarcely fit on a name tag also. My first name is Delphinium. And if I have a baby girl in my belly, I'm going to name it Chrysanthemum. That made Chrysanthemum
Blush and bloom and bloom.
Joe, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. Call me Marigold, said Joe.
They're all upside down.
I'm Carnation, said Rita, pointing. My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. And Chrysanthemum didn't think her name was absolutely perfect.
She knew it.
And later when Mrs. Twinkle had her baby, she named it
Chrysanthemum.
Owen. Owen had a fuzzy blanket. He'd had it since he was a baby. He loved it with all his heart. Fuzzy goes where I go, said Owen.
And Fuzzy did. Upstairs, downstairs, in between, inside, outside, upside down. Fuzzy likes what I like, said Owen. And Fuzzy did. Orange juice, grape juice, chocolate milk, ice cream, peanut butter, and applesauce cake. That's like applesauce cake. Isn't he getting a little old to be carrying that thing around? Asked Mrs. Tweezers.
She's whispering.
Haven't you heard of the blanket fairy? Owen's parents hadn't. Mrs. Tweezers filled him in. That night, Owen's parents told Owen to put Fuzzy under his pillow, and in the morning it would be gone. The blanket fairy will take it. Owen stuffed Fuzzy inside his pajama pants and went to sleep. In the morning, no blanket fairy, said Owen. No kidding, said Owen's mother and father. Fuzzy's dirty, said Owen's mother. Fuzzy's torn and ratty, said Owen's father. No, said Owen. Fuzzy's perfect, and Fuzzy was. Fuzzy played Captain Plunger with Owen. Fuzzy helped Owen become invisible. And Fuzzy was essential when it came to nail clippings. He can't be a baby forever, said Mrs. Tweezers.
I know Mrs. Tweezers.
Have you heard of the vinegar trick?
Yeah.
So when Owen wasn't looking, his dad dipped Fuzzy in vinegar. Then he rubbed the smelly corner all around the sandbox and buried it in the garden, dug it up again. Good as new, said Owen. Fuzzy wasn't fuzzy anymore, but Owen didn't mind. He carried it, he wore it, he dragged it, he sucked it, he hugged it, he twisted it. What are we going to do? Asked Owen's mother. School's starting soon. He can't bring a blanket to school, said Miss Tweezers.
I know. I said Tweezers.
I have to bring Fuzzy to school, said Owen. No, 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 said Owen's mother and father. But don't worry, said Owen's mother. I've got an idea. First she snipped. Then she sewed. Then she snipped again and sewed some more. Then snip, 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 sew, sew, sew. Dry your eyes, wipe your nose. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Now Owen carries one of his not-so-fuzzy handkerchiefs with him wherever he goes. And Mrs. Tweezers doesn't say a thing. Lily's purple plastic purse. Lily loved school. She loved the pointy pencils. She loved the squeaky chalk. She loved the way her boots went clickety-clack, clickety-clack down the long, shiny hallways. Lily loved the privacy of her own desk. She loved fish sticks and chocolate milk. And most of all, she loved her teacher, Mr. Slinger. He was as sharp as a tack. He wore artistic shirts. He wore glasses on a chain around his neck. And he wore a different colored tie to school each day of the week. Instead of greeting students, he said, "Good morning, pupils." Mr. Slinger winked and said, "Howdy." He thought the desks in rows were old-fashioned. Do you rodents think you can handle a semicircle? Then he always provided the most tasty snacks. I want to be a teacher when I grow up, said Lily. At home, Lily pretended to be Mr. Slinger. What's with Lily? Asked her mother. I thought she wanted to be a surgeon or an ambulance driver. Must be because her new teacher, Mr. Slinger. Whenever the students had free time, they were permitted to go to the light bulb lab in the back of the classroom.
Oh, what's that? What's
That's a
that?
card that they made for the teacher. I wonder if it was Teacher Appreciation Week. When Mr. Slinger had bus duty, Lily stood in line, even though she didn't ride the bus. Lily raised her hand more than anyone in the class, and she even volunteered to stay after school to clap erasers. One Monday morning, Lily came to school especially happy. She'd gone shopping with her grandma, who'd gotten her a purple plastic purse. Lily wanted to show everyone, including Mr. Slinger. Lily really, really wanted to show everyone. Not now, said Mr. Slinger. Wait until recess or sharing time. But Lily couldn't wait. The glasses were so glittery, the quarters were so shiny, and the purse played such nice music. Not to mention how good it was at storing supplies. Mr. Slinger said, I'll keep it at my desk. Lily's stomach lurched. She felt like crying. That afternoon, Lily went to the light bulb lab, and she was still very sad. She thought and thought and thought and became angry. She thought she thought some more. She thought some more, and then she became furious. She thought and thought and thought and thought a bit longer, and then drew a picture of Mr. Slinger. Right before the last bell rang, Lily sneaked the drawing into Mr. Slinger's book bag. When all the students were buttoned and zipped and snapped and tied, Mr. Slinger gave her the purse back and said, It's a beautiful purse. Lily ran all the way home and told her mother and father everything. Lily's mother wrote a note, and Lily's father baked some tasty snacks. Next morning, Lily got to school early. "These are for you," Lily said to Mr. Slinger, "because I'm really sorry." Then Lily did a little performance using some props. "It's called interpretive dance," said Lily. Mr. Slinger joined in. "Wow," said the entire class. That was just about all they could say. Wow. Throughout the rest of the day, Lily's purse and quarters and sunglasses were tucked safely inside her desk. And right before the last bell rang, Mr. Slinger served all of Lily's snacks to the entire class to share with everyone. And as the pupils filed out of the classroom, Lily held her purple plastic purse close to her heart. Mr. Slinger was right. It was a better day today than yesterday. Lily ran and skipped and hopped and flew all the way home. She was so happy. She really did want to be a teacher when she grew up. That is, when she didn't want to be a dancer, surgeon, ambulance driver, diva, pilot, hairdresser, scuba diver.